Welcome to another episode of It's a Jungle Out There. I'm your host and queen, Maria Tabraue. As you know by now, the show is about kings and queens living, excelling, and thriving in their own jungles. Today's guest is Joe Wasilewski, wildlife expert who has devoted his life to conserving endangered wildlife worldwide. Joe's work has taken him across the globe, including the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he worked for Yodata International, LLC, as Vice President of Biodiversity. Let's get right into it. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Maria.
Okay. Tell us how you came to be the king in your own life today.
I don't know about the king, but it's been a long road. I've been working on conservation for almost 40 years now. That's a long time. I was actually born and raised in Chicago, and I never even saw a tree till I was 20 years old.
How come?
Well, I was raised in the city, and was drafted into the U.S. Army and stationed in Miami. And while I was stationed, I was a military policeman, a dog trainer. I trained sentry dogs. I actually got a job at the Miami Serpentarium back in 1973. Oh my God, for somebody back then in the 70s that loved reptiles and snakes.
That was the place to work.
That was it. That was, talk about kings. Bill Haast was the owner of the Serpentarium and director. And at the time, he was literally the king of herpetology. So I was just a prince back then.
Okay. So where did your career path took you to becoming a conservationist?
I guess if I would speak to aspiring conservationists or younger people, which I like to, I'm just going to have to say you got to hang in there because it's tough in the beginning. I mean, I made minimum wage $1.65 an hour back then. I had to live in a parking lot till I could save enough money to get an apartment. But the path always took me forward, and that's what I would tell people. And once you get one job, another job comes up if you do a good job.
Right.
You got if you
And
get
word
a
of
job
mouth.
and do a good job, they're going to call you back.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Word of mouth is probably, well, not nowadays in the electronic world, but word of mouth still holds some value.
Yes. Have you traveled doing this kind of project?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I actually raised my son from about the time he was 1 year old, and I couldn't really go anywhere till he was about 14, 15, 16, and then I started traveling, and I work the year before COVID. I was working in 11 different countries in 1 year.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Have you or anybody heard of the IUCN? It's the International Union for the Conservation of Nature.
Yes.
It's a multi-international organization with over 100 countries belonging to it, and 18,000 people like myself who mostly volunteer their time. And in that, like my specialty is crocodiles and iguanas and snakes. And I belong to the IUCN Crocodile Specialist Group and Iguana Specialist Group. And I belong to a group called the King Cobra Conservancy. And we're raising funds to do field work with king cobras in 4 or 5 different countries. And in India, 50,000 people die from snake bite every year. Here in the U.S., I think it's less than 5. Many reasons for that, but the main reason is 4. The spectacled cobra, the crate, Russell's viper, and saw-scaled viper. Those 4 species kill 50,000 people a year. King cobras don't. I think in 10 years, less than a dozen people have died. Most of those were handling the cobra. So
Yeah, so it's out of self-defense, I think.
pretty much, but the king cobras eat other snakes. That's their main diet. And they eat these 4 snakes that kill people. So our message to the people where king cobras live is leave them alone because they're taking care of your problem snakes.
Let's look at one of your darkest moments and how you came out on the other side stronger, more resilient, and powerful.
You know, there's been a lot of dark moments. Of course, everybody has them. We all have our good days and we all have our bad days. And in the beginning, it was tough. It was really tough. You know, I had to work 2 or 3 jobs just to afford an apartment, and not all of them were animal related. And then over the years, I began handling venomous snakes, and I had a few mistakes I landed in the hospital on a respirator the last time. Took 48 vials of antivenom to bring me back to life.
How long was that ago?
A couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Was it, do you feel there was something careless that you did?
Totally my fault. I was working with an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, and I became complacent. And you know, when you handle these things every day, all day, you can become complacent. And that out of anything, what we talk about today, I would tell people, just if you're handling anything dangerous, don't ever treat it.
Yeah, don't lose focus of what you're doing.
Don't ever lose focus.
Or be comfortable.
Yeah, or you could wind up, I was in a coma for 7 or 8 days.
And that's what I tell our volunteers and our staff. You can't split of a second for anything to happen. You have to stay very focused.
No, and wildlife, an animal, it can happen
Wildlife,
that fast.
That fast.
Snakes, crocs, and the problem is I work with animals, I don't like to say it like this, but it's true, that could kill people. And I have to work with human crocodile conflict issues as well.
Do you find that thrilling? Is that something that...
Oh, yeah.
Thrilling? So you consider that between human and animal, which you prefer to work with?
Oh, animals all day long.
Huh?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I've been working with animals for so long, so many different aspects. I've done TV commercials. I've filmed Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3. I've worked on movies. I was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and Jay Leno. So yeah, this has taken me all over the place in
You've
many
traveled
directions.
and visited.
Oh, I've been all over the world, and still a few places to go. But one of my, I guess, most meaningful projects was in the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Tell us a little bit about that.
That's the project is called REDD, R-E-D-D, Reduction of Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, and the current quote unquote political climate. As how many of us have heard the term climate change?
All the time.
All the time, whether you believe it or not, it's happening. The reasons it's happening, people can argue about. But one of the main drivers of climate change is deforestation. And the basic premise of the work I do in Congo is to keep trees upright. That's the basic premise, but it's pretty involved over there.
To avoid climate change changing the system.
Well, you see, I'll give you a quick for instance. Let's say there's a power plant in Europe somewhere, a coal power plant, and the black smoke is emitting carbon monoxide, and they let's say they emit 1 million metric tons a year. Okay, well, the forest we're protecting in the Congo, we're teaching the people not to chop the trees down. You can measure the carbon in the forest. So once we're verified and validated 750,000 hectares, which is about 1.5 million acres, companies in Europe have to be zero emissions. So if they emit 1 million metric tons, they have to purchase 1 million metric tons of stored carbon in a forest. So that's what balances it out. A lot of people don't realize it. And they don't realize, you hear the term tree hugger. What is a tree hugger? Well, I don't think I'm a tree hugger, but I save a hell of a lot of trees.
Yes, it's nature. I mean,
it is nature, and in the Congo, one thing is the people there don't like the word jungle. The word jungle to them.
so what are they?
They call it a forest. It's
forest.
their forest. And the people in the Congo are proud of their forest.
So when you go there, you live with them?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, it is the coolest thing ever. It's not for everybody. When I'm there usually 4 to 6 weeks at a time. There's no electricity except maybe a generator. We're now getting some solar panels. No running water.
So you have to bathe in the river?
Yes. Well, I bathe in a bucket, and
In a bucket,
it takes a while. You could figure it out, and you know, so yeah, you could
You
bathe.
have to heat the water. Well, if you don't have electricity, you can't heat the
No,
water.
there's no.
Natural
You heat the
water.
water in the sun. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, I stay in an old logging camp, which is I'm telling you, I can't even describe how cool it is. And in the concession we work is 33 villages, and in order for the forest to be saved, we just can't come in there and say, protect your forest. They're going to say, well, what's in it for me, right? So we actually go to each village and make a contract with the chief. And if they comply, if they tell us how much forest they want to conserve. And if they comply to that, then the money we get from people purchasing the carbon credits, they get a percentage. And what we do is we build schools, we build hospitals, we provide agricultural benefits, we build tilapia ponds. For $323 US, you could build a tilapia pond that could feed 200 people. It's crazy. It's a different world there, but it's the coolest world I've seen.
What you're doing is you love what you're doing, and you're helping and you're giving back.
Yeah, you know, and I love what I'm doing, number one, but number two, just to see the smiles on the people's faces and knowing their lives are getting better because of your work or your company's work. It's not me, it's, you know, it's the company. It's kind of like a football team. It's not one person, it's everybody.
There's a question that I have for you. You know, I know that you and Mario know each other for the longest, and Mario wanted me to ask you, what was the name when he met you that you were called?
Well, there's a few I can't really say here, but
No, well, he told me to tell you, to ask you.
I forgot.
You were called a mice man.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, for a while there, I began. See, as a result of me raising my son since he was 1, I couldn't really get it. I couldn't get a real job, so I started my own business and I started raising mice, and that started to go over well. And I started having thousands and thousands of mice a week. So I would sell mice to all of the importers, and I was the mouse man. Yeah.
And that's how you met Mario.
And that's where I met Mario, because he had all these animals. Not only did he have reptiles, but he had a lot of birds of prey that eat rodents. So I would sell Mario literally thousands of mice and rats. I'm over that now.
You're over that. You grew that. Okay. What project is up next for you?
Oh, I just had a Zoom meeting today with the island of Grand Cayman. They have a huge invasive species problem, green iguanas there, and I will be going there to train their Department of Environment people on methodology of removing them and keeping green iguanas out.
When you remove them from there, where do you guys relocate them?
They're all euthanized.
Oh, they're all euthanized?
Yeah, just like the pythons in the Everglades. Invasive species are a big problem worldwide. The world spends hundreds of billions of dollars ridding. The Great Lakes has zebra mussels that clog up pipes. There's bullfrogs are found in the U.S., are found in 41 different countries. Green iguanas are as far as Fiji. I work in Jamaica with crocodiles and iguanas. The iguanas are only found in one little hilltop called the Hellshire Hills. And the only way we can keep iguanas in the wild is to have there's 300 traps, live traps set for mongoose, because mongoose will wipe out any reptile species. And they're invasive. They're from India, and every country that raised sugarcane, the people would bring mongoose in to get rid of the rats. Well, guess what? Mongoose are diurnal, which means they live in the day. Rats are nocturnal. they're active at night. So they never see one another.
Now, where can our listeners, viewers find out more info on you and follow you on social media?
Yeah, well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, and my email address is jawnatsel@bellsouth.net.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
you. Thank you for joining us today, Joe. We all look forward to seeing your continued work and mission in playing our own role in changing the world. As always, like, subscribe, and comment on this video. And remember, you can listen wherever you get your favorite podcast. Till the next day, wild, strong, and empowered. I am Maria Tabraue, and remember, we're all kings and queens in our own jungle. Stream this and new episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.